Welcome back to my friends. Excuse a little cough. And we're up to 1975. And this album, what we're about to look at, this was the one what really introduced me to uriah heep, because I got to the pleasure of going to see them at the Birmingham Odeon on the tour of the Return to Fantasy album. Um, the lineup has slightly changed because Gary Fawn, I think his name, had left due into drugs and um, other things and that, and he it wasn't working out with the rest of the band, so they asked him to leave. And in the same year, he died after overdose of heroin and that, and he was only 27, so he was part of the 27 era. So as I show you the album, there's the front and there's the back and that, and here we have the members of the band with a new bassist, and his name was John Whitten, and the lineup was still with David Bryan, lead vocals, Mick Box on guitar, Keith Lenz, I'll get his name wrong, on keyboards, guitar, synth and back and vocals, Lee Kershaw on drums, percussion and backing vocals, and then John Watson, bass, melon and vocals. So the tracks on this album was track one was Return to Fantasy, Shady Lady, Devil's Daughter, Beautiful Dream, that was side one. Side two was Diane something, I forget the name. Next, You Return to Remember, Showdown, Why Did You Go, A Year or a Day. So this was recorded in 1975, and this was part of the 1975 tour, what was a successful tour, and I got excuse the little cough, I got to see them in 1975 at the Birmingham Odeon, and their support band was the Heavy Metal Kids. And this is the album, and as I show you the record and that, with all its lyrics and that. So, as we run through the ratings, Return to Fantasy, that's got to be a 9.5, because that was by Henderson and Brown. And then we got Shady Lady, that's got to be 8.5. That was by nearly all of them except for the new basis. Then we had Devil's Daughter, that's got to be 8. Beautiful Day, the final one on side one, that's got to be 8.5. And then we go to side two, Perfect Dawn, I think. I forget the name. Sorry if I've got the name, but I give that 8. Your Turn to Remember, that's got to be another 8. Showdown, that's a 7. Why Did You Go? That's got to be 9.5, because I'd quite like that. And A Day in the Life, that's got to be a 7. And overall, I give this a 8.5, because I quite like this. And this is the album what really introduced me to, started me off listening to uriah heep. And I went back, and because it was my brother who was the main uriah heep fan and that, and he introduced me to their music. And ever since this album and seeing them live, I've been a fan and that, and I've followed them through every one and that. And I I must admit, this is quite one of my favourites. This is their next one, and that's 1975 album and that. And as I open it up, you can see all the new member. I don't know. There is his. I don't know if you can see his name and the rest of the band. And this is my look of a return to fantasy from 1975, midway through the 70s. And this is where I say a fond farewell to Return to Fantasy and continue the story with our next tribute next time. So if you enjoy this little trip and looking at Return to Fantasy and my personal ratings, you might have your favourite choice on this album. It's up to you. But if you want to put a comment on that, and you're more than welcome. The more the merrier. It'd be interesting to read the comments and see which ones you like, and out of all the albums I've done so far and that. And that's my look of a Return to Fantasy from 1975. And if you enjoy this little look of that album and you want to join the channel, you're more than welcome. And whenever you watch this, morning, noon or night, I hope you are safe and well. Look after your friends, your family and your loved ones, and take care. Be safe. And I will catch you on the flip side for more interesting things to do with uriah heep and their next album. And I'll say bye for now.